Well, we are officially live on the new platform. We're going to give it just a couple of minutes to see. We have 5 people. We are broadcasting on Facebook and YouTube tonight. We're testing this platform. So, hold on a second, I am missing something here. Any technical difficulties that we have are solely mine because I am getting used to this new platform. So just give you a heads up. um, so let's see. Oh, nice. Uh, hey, Mike. Hey, Chuck. Nova Scotia homesteading. Nice. On YouTube. Um, Fallon, is that you? So it's what we're broadcasting on multiple platforms tonight under the new platform. We're excited. Um, but tonight, our primary focus is going to excellent. Um, Fallon, you have to let me know how it works out on the YouTube. Your feedback is going to be imperative on this one because this is the first time we've used it. Um, so, but tonight is we're going to focus on making wards. We've done this before, but it was very scratching the surface type thing. So I'm going to go in a little bit more detail what a ward is and the whole 9 yards. How everybody knows I hate how-to videos, but this won't be a how-to, but at least it'll give you some lead-in on how to do it on your own. So, let's just kind of look at the overall history of this. So wards are nothing that one select group or another only does. That's remove that out of the equation. Wards and protectors have been around for centuries, and they're usually gargoyles on a church, monoliths, different things like that have a specific purpose in mind for protection. So it's not a case of thinking it's something new. It's something created from just practitioners in general. Several people have done this, and it's the primary purpose is for protection. To ward off either negative influences or to ward off enemies. Um, you know, it's got a wider range of purposes. Just like the evil eye pendant, like Allison makes, is to ward off negative energies. So keep that in mind as we go through this. So I said a keyword in there, and the keyword was energy. With that in mind, in order to make a ward doesn't have to be some grand object that's elaborate or over the top. It could be something small and simple. And that's the amazing part of it. But we're going to go through an example of not worrying about the size of it or worrying about the content or what is it made out of. Could be just made of glass. We won't go there. So anyway, but the purpose behind it is to keep negative energies away, keep your area protected. It could be something visible. It could be something invisible. A lot of practitioners like that visual. I'm a visual person, so I have to have something visual to focus on. So that's just me. There is no rule behind this. The important part is that you understand is that it is something that you are going to imprint with your energies. Now, just going to give you an example. And we've done it with the episodes from past, that's Erdogan Access 7, different things like that. So if you have, um, well, for example, your hand just touching something, you do an imprint. Um, Usually it can be measured by heat. So um, heat translates into energy. But in this case, we're going to measure for heat. So right here, you'll see where I take my hand and I place it down. I'm using a FLIR camera, which measures heat variances. But of course, when I turn around and I move my hand, my imprint is still there. My heat transferred to the wood surface. It doesn't have to be a metal or anything like that. It's there. Now, just to watch it again, once again, no fantastical magical formula here. This is just basic heat transference. Heat equates to energy. And so where I place my hand down, I move it. Now you see my handprint. Um, the same thing applies in this scenario. You're imprinting. Um, and it's sorry, I have to bounce. So the only thing that's a little frustrating is I have to bounce between windows to see comments. Once you get the hang of it, it'll be fine. Hey, Jeff. Um, so with that being said, so it's not this magical mystery force that's out there, and like I'm not going to go there, but it's an actual transference of energy what you're doing. So I'm going to really play a cheesy version of science, whatever here. So what I have here is food coloring. So think of this as your intent. This is what you want to do. You want to be specific with your intent. You know, protect. Protect against what? Negative energies, people. In my case, it's people. Ugh. But this is going to represent your intent. So because a singular color is being used, if I don't get it all over me, this has got to represent the intent as being specific. This little beaker will be your energy. So just a little bit can end up manifesting. Action follows thought. So the more intent you apply, the more manifestation. But that's just still the energy. I better put the lid on this. I'll be sitting here talking to you looking like a smurf. So now this is the object that you're trying to empower to make into a ward. In this case, I'm using the concept of a physical object. So regardless of its size, whether it's small or big or whatever, it doesn't really matter, because as you apply your intent and your energy into it, it represents the same. Now you've taken an object here and you have applied your energy and intent and combined it. Now you have a ward, basically. The important part of this is, aside from the energy, is to focus on the intent, the purpose, the specific purpose. And like I said, we were being specific with a color. So when you have an object or something along those lines, regardless if it's small or big, when you apply that to it, it becomes a part of it. Now, just as much, there is another aspect to that. Just because you made a ward, you applied your energy, you've now manifested Smurf P. I don't know what. Just because you've done that doesn't mean it's always going to last. Okay, if I have this and I leave it out, a standard procedure called evaporation will take over and it will get lower and lower and lower and lower. Um, Energy is constant, but if it's not maintained, it becomes weaker. So it's usually recommended, not black and white. It's not a, you got to go this way, you got to do that. It's recommended that you recharge that item by applying your energies and your intent. Your intent may change over time as well. So just keep that in mind. So this is what I personally like to do it. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, it's how I do it. So what I will do is I will make either a clay figure or a head or something like that, and I will repeat that process. I will have my intent spelled out, exactly what I want it to be able to do. And combined with my energy, I either anoint it or I usually put like a parchment inside of it if I'm going to make it. Things like that is a constant reminder of what its purpose is. But that doesn't mean you have to make something. If you found, well, I'll give an example. I used to have a collection of different masks, and there was one that used to be in the hallway, and I made that my ward by doing the same identical process, focusing intent, its purpose, and empowering it for that purpose. Um, if you have like a small trinket on your shelf, let's say you have a personal attachment to it, just it reminds you of better times or whatever the case. That time you got drunk and you fell down in the gutter, I don't care. But if you have a personal attachment to it, it makes it easier to embed the energy and the intent into it. So I'm hoping this concept helps clear up a little bit of the misconceptions because, once again, wards is nothing new. Protection amulets, all these different things, they are nothing new. Placement of stones around the property. And I think Fallon has done that before. Uh, Positioning certain things around a building can apply to the same concept. It's These are things that are constant and can be done very easily. There's a lot of books out there that touch on the subject, um, but at the end of the day, it's your specific purpose and your intent combined with your energy and manifesting it. So never let anybody tell you you're doing it the wrong way. Um, I mean, there's tales of anywhere from golems to marking a building with a hex mark or um, doing sigils in strategic placed items. I'm not looking around the room. Um, these are different ways in order to um, create a protection, a secure environment, whether it's just for energy or for people. Um, Different locations that I know of around Saskatchewan have wards when you come in the door. If you feel sick when you walk in, or you're get that antsy, I'm feeling threatened type thing, usually that's the ward working because you were never intended to be there. And it's a peace of mind for the people that are there. Um, now, Fallon, that's just creepy as hell. I'm just going to point out a bunch of dolls, the sentinels around around the room. Personally, I would nightmares, just straight up nightmares. Done. uh, but but it's actually a really good idea. Who's going to come in there anyway? So, and actually, yeah, just the thinking about it, you're actually brought up a point. I used to know somebody that used to use dolls and do the impression on them and make these guardians by using these dolls. So it's really not that odd. It's just to me, I'm done. So making a ward, and I'm going to step back to an example that I gave somebody a couple of years ago. They had two trees in their yard that they just absolutely adored. And um, okay, fair enough. Fair enough. But you know what? In fairness, Fallon, I can be considered an asshole spirit too. Just ask Jared. Uh, but he was asking how can he utilize a tree? Well, the tree is another living being, is another living entity, but it's nothing against any rule book to say you can combine energies. You combine your intent with its energies, and it will act as a guardian. Um, and down down south, a lot of times you'll see like oak trees specifically planted because they are considered grandfathers, guardians, the property. So, you know, it's not off the wall. It's not, there is no off the cuff. I decided to make that dangly thing, those fuzzy dice in my window, my car, a type of guardian. Don't think it's too weird. Um, it's imperative that you make it as comfortable with you because you are the one that's got to empower it. Um, you may have an affinity toward dragons, and uh, okay, unless you're going to sculpt a huge dragon, that's cool, but you don't have to. Remember, I said it's not always a physical object. If you can see it and you can see it in every little detail and manifest it, then it becomes real to those that are residing there. Um, and it works just as effective. So just always remember, stay focused on the intent of the purpose, blue die, transfer the energy, and manifest. At the end of the day, it's all about manifestation. So now, with that being said, we've been discussing about this whole broadcasting and um well, I guess first off, has anybody got any questions concerning making wards and guardians and protectors? It's very tip of the iceberg, but at the end of the day, it's you that has to come up with the process. You know, as long as you understand the foundation of it, it's you have to develop the process. Don't let anyone tell you you're doing it wrong. But there's always ways that you can improve it and make it better. Um, so, with that being said, are there any questions? I could play some cheesy music right now. Uh, well, not yet. I drug out my old mixer board, so I'm going to be integrating a lot more into these. But if no questions, I'm really liking this feed because I can see now the YouTube comments and the Facebook comments and be able to tell which one is which. Before I couldn't do that. I like this new format. It's so nice. Vision boards, Stacy. Can you elaborate? Aside from, I mean, I'm thinking as soon as you say that, I think spirit boards, but I'll definitely go for an elaboration on it. Because sometimes, to be quite honest, what I may use as a term, it may be what somebody else has used. It's the same wording, it's a different term. So I just want to make sure I understand. It's still the delay. Our purpose is, hold on a second, I'm going to pop this up on the screen here. Our purpose is set placed upon pics. They become manifested in many things. Yeah, it's basically the same thing, like what Raven said. Um, it's Yeah, I absolutely agree. If you take, well, it doesn't matter if it's an actual picture or if you have, a picture or you draw a picture. You can do the same thing. It's Yeah, agreed. I do it as an example inside of my grimoire. I will go with the Mandela, but crystal grids, to be quite honest, and this is my personal opinion, I've tested multiple crystal grids by using variable frequencies, and I have yet to find um, a physical measurement for those. I know what their purpose is, but I actually have tried to measure multiple crystal grids because it fascinates me, and I've yet to find a tangible, measurable um, source behind it. Um, Now, as far as a focus tool, great. But when people tell me that the crystal grids are emitting certain things, I have yet to be able to measure that. And I've used a wide variety of harmonic frequencies to measure those. So, just my personal opinion. I know a lot of people absolutely adore crystal grids. They just absolutely fascinate me. Well, you know, everybody knows me with crystals. I have to measure. So, um, because I was always fascinated with the crystal generators, and so I was always focusing on that. Then I went to the crystal grids, and I've tried a wide variety of different measurements on them, and there's literally no foundation for the frequencies being emitted, but what you're focusing on, absolutely. So I just want to throw that out. Like I said before, it doesn't matter if you agree or disagree. Um, we're all apt to disagree, as long as we can gather something from it, like the concept of division boards. I've never heard that term, so it's absolutely. I learned something. I love it. So, I'm going to take this moment real quick to point out future prospects. Um, the future prospects, the biggest reasons we had to change the platform is the previous one. We had too many technical issues. The new one seems to be way more stable. They're older, they've been around a lot longer. Um, and as you can tell, we have more flexibility. Um, and as far as future plans, we are going to be combining several different platforms together and broadcasting across many more platforms, including the website eventually. Um, and the Medu2.ca website. We're going to be doing multiple people, so you don't see this mug here all the time. And also, we're going to be bringing in more people remotely. Speaking of which, Louis Valencia will be back on the May 8th. Um, and there was a big mess up with Facebook and getting messages, and is anyway. She apologizes, but she will be back on May 8th. Very fascinating individual. So that's going to be great. I can't wait. But next up is for the Cosmos Astrum will be Lisa Webb. The next discussion I'm going to have is on candle magic, and then I'm going to be turning my focus strictly on paranormal and supernatural investigations. We're going to do a gradual increase on the basics all the way up to the advanced functions. What's, the technology, the research and things like that. So we're going to start at ground floor and work our way up. But with that being said, these broadcasts are going to become more and more elaborate as time goes on. Don't want to spill the beans too quick, just in case it doesn't work out. But it sounds to me like we're going to be we're going to have a lot of fun with this. I mean, come on. Well, outside right now the weather is absolute crap, but still, removing the weather, Saskatchewan, removing the weather out of the equation, we've got COVID and people. Anyway, we need to have some fun. So we're going to make this a lot more entertaining, and I'm looking forward to it. We've got some ridiculous ideas on what to do. Tonight I'll be on SLE radio, which will be in the morning in the UK. I think it starts at 11 o'clock, and which is 5 o'clock their time. Nothing paranormal, nothing fancy, just going to be shooting the bull. So I'll be posting a link onto the page, and we'll go from there. Should be interesting because the more tired I get, the sillier I get. So anyway, and as always, any type of donation is appreciated. That's how we pay for these platforms, these future projects, and everything else. So I just posted the link shamelessly, but if you feel up to it, it's not required. It's not mandatory. We don't, we appreciate it, but we don't care if you can't. So much love to you all. A quick discussion and illustration on wards. And really it applies to anything that you do, but literally anything that you do, from painting, your thought process, your intent, going in until you manifest your piece of art. So much love to you all. Be safe. This is the time that we definitely say don't talk to strangers. And until next time, thank you.